Now let's see how we can create the entity types using the SCGW command, that is using the service builder. So we will log in back to our SAP system. So we have already created this project and we have seen how to create the data model. So the next step is that how we can create the entity type. So to create the entity type, so we have to basically right click the data model folder. Then we have to go to create and then entity type. So if we click on here, so the window will appear in which we have to give the entity type name. So my entity type name, I have to specify a name for my entity type. So it has to be unique. So the name of the entity type and my entity sets has to be unique. And an error will display if a character in the specified name is not allowed. So say if I want to give the name as sales. Now we have this option of create related entity sets. So this is an optional one. So if I want to create the entity set by default, then I can choose this checkbox and it will create the entity set. And say if I click on this, it has automatically taken a name which is actually my name of my entity type and it is appended by set. So if I click on OK now, we can see that we have the new entity type, that is sales, available here. And then in the entity sets, if we can expand the entity sets, we have this sales set appearing under the entity sets. So this is one of the options using which we can create the entity type. So we can also create the entity type by directly expanding the data model folder and by double clicking on the entity types. So if I double click on my entity type, I will be able to see this window. This is my maintenance window. So in my maintenance window, I will be I can add the number of rows. I can click on this insert row if I want to insert my new row. So say if I go here and click on insert row, I can add the entity type here. So in the name column, we have to enter a unique name for the entity type. So say if I add sales underscore demo. Now after that we have the ABAP structure name. So in my ABAP structure type name column, we can enter the appropriate ABAP structure directly, or we can use the input help to search for an existing structure in the repository. So if I click here and I go to this window, it will ask me to enter the name of the view, or we can enter the name here. So it is basically showing me all the ABAP structures which are available. So I can select any of the ABAP structure from this menu. Then we have the base type column. So in the base type column, we have to enter the relevant base type name directly, or we can use the input help to display a list of existing node names and their descriptions. So my base types inherit their properties to the derived type. My inheritance between the base types and the derived types enables us to reuse the existing entity types. So after that, we have this is abstract. Is abstract, this is my is abstract column. So we select the checkbox if we want to define the entity type as an abstract type. Then we have the label. So in the label column, we can enter a label for the new entity type. So we can enter a free text label directly, or we can use the label text reference editor to enter the reference type. So for example, it can be a program, it can be a data element, it can be a class, or it can be a program. So the reference type we select influences which of the other input fields we will be having. So that is my object name, key, label, or all these options, they will depend on the reference type we are selecting. So once we have done this, then we can click on save and it will create one more entity type. Similar to the sales, we have the sales demo now. So this way we can create the entity type in our data model. Now let's move back to the presentation and see what is an entity set. After that, we have the entity sets. So we use the entity sets in the Service Builder project to group together the instances of an entity type together with the instances of any type that are derived from this particular entity type. So while an entity type describes a data structure, an entity set contains the instances of the given structure. So how we can create the entity sets? So to create the entity sets, again we have to go back to the Service Builder. So let's go back to our SAP system. So to create the entity set, what we can do is we can right click this data model folder, and when we can select create entity set. We can also create a new entity set when we right click the entity set folder and select create. So then we have to specify the entity set name and the related entity type. So let's say if I want to enter the entity set as demo. Now I have to tell which entity type this set is associated with. So I can just go to the entity type name and I can select any of these. So let's say if I select sales. So now I can see that I have this entity set created under my entity set folder. So alternatively, we can also expand this data model folder, and then in the project view we can double click the entity set. So if we double click the entity sets, we can see the maintenance view, and that is the mass maintenance view, and then we can click on the insert option, that is my insert row option. So we can either create the entity set by going directly into my data model, right click, create entity set, or I can go to the entity set folder and I can click on create, and the third option is I can double click this entity set folder and I can insert a row manually. So when I insert a row manually, in the name column I have to specify the name of my entity set which I want to create. So after that we have the entity type name. So in the entity type name we have to enter the name of an existing entity type or the project, or we can search for an entity type using the input help. That is, we can click on this and we can search for the existing entity types into this project. Then we have the label column. So in the label column we can enter a label for the new entity set. We can either enter a free text label directly, or we can use the label text reference editor to enter the reference type. So this reference, it can be a program, it can be a data element, it can be a class, or it can be a program. So the reference type we select will influence which of the other inputs we will be getting. That is, whether we will be able to see the object name, whether we will be able to see the key, label, etc. Then we can define the other optional attributes which are there for my entity sets. So if I go here, I have this semantics. So this semantic will specify me how the entity set is to be used in our service implementation. After that we have the creatable. So if we select this checkbox, so it indicates that the creation is supported by our service implementation. Then we have this updatable. So if we select this checkbox, it indicates that updating is supported by our service implementation. Similarly, we have this deletable. So this deletable checkbox indicates that the deletion is supported by my service implementation. Then we have pageable. So this indicates that paging is supported by my service implementation. Then we have the addressable. So this checkbox also indicates that the addressable function is supported by service implementation. Similarly, we have the searchable, we have the subscribable, and we have the requires filter. So this requires filter means that the filter is required by our service implementation. So if we select this checkbox, the entity set cannot be accessed directly and cannot be queried without a $filter expression. So these all are the properties which are available in my entity sets. So once we have decided everything, we can click on the save option. So okay, so since I have not given the mandatory inputs for this, so that's why it is showing me error. I can just select this and I can delete this row, since we already have the entity sets which are required for our service. So now we can click on the save and my entity sets is saved now. So now let's go back to the presentation. So once the entity sets are done, after that we have the association. So association is a named relationship between two or more entities. So my association will define a peer-to-peer relationship between participating entity type, and it can support the different multiplicities at both the ends. So as an example of an association is the relationship between the customer and the order entities. So my service builder provides the facility to create and edit the associations. So let's see how we can create the associations in my service builder. So if I go to my service builder, I can create the association in two ways. Either we can use the association wizard to quickly define the data model, that is the association sets, referential constraints, or the navigation properties. Or we can use the mass edit view, in which we can create and edit the different individual artifacts needed for an association using the mass edit view of the data model. So we can define a minimum set of information for an association using the association wizard, and we can enhance it using the mass edit view. So we have to make sure that we are in the edit mode while we are creating the association. So how we can create the association is, we can right click this data model folder, we can go to create, and then we can click on the association. Or there is another way of doing it, is that I can directly go to this association folder, I can right click this and I can click on create. So now in this and we have the different options which we need to enter. So the first one is the association name. So this name specifies a name for the new association to be created. So an error message will be displayed if we do not specify a name, or if the name contains a character that is not allowed. So under this field we have the different areas like the principal entity. So in the principal entity we have to give the entity type name. So either we can specify the name of the entity for the new association directly, or we can take the help of the input. So the entity at this end of the association can exist independently of the entity on the dependent end of the association. So we can press F4 to select the entity type here. Then we have the cardinality. My cardinality will specify the relation between the specified principal entity type and the dependent entity type. So we can press F4, or we can click to select from the list available. That is, I can click on this list and I can select the entity type name here. After that, the multiplicity of the association can be 0, that is only 0.1, which means that only one instance occurs. 0 is also allowed. Then we have 1. 1 means it is one-to-one relations, that is exactly one instance occurs. Then we have m is to 1 is to n. M means 1 is to n, means that one to many relationships. One or more instances can occur if we choose 1 is to n. Then we have n. N means 0 to n. It means 0 to many relations. It means that 0 or more instances can occur. So my many to many relations is not supported in the wizard. Then we can create the related navigational property. So it is the optional. However, we can select this option to set a link for the entity type. So under the principal entity, when selected, the navigation property name is proposed based on the specified cardinality. Then we have the navigation property. So it is available only when we create a related navigation property is selected. So if we choose this create related navigation property, then only we will have this enable, that is the navigation property. So it sets a navigation property name for the specified entity type. So the name is proposed based on the cardinality of my entity. So if the navigation property is created under the principal entity, it sets a navigation link from the principal entity type to the dependent entity type. Then we have so this is basically my create related navigation property. Then we have the dependent entity. So in this also we have the entity type name, which means that we have to specify the name of the entity type defined as the related entity in the new dimension. So we can also press F4 to select the entity type from here. The entity at this part of the association exists only if an entity type has been defined for the principal entity. Then similar to the way we define the cardinality in the main principal entity, similarly we have the cardinality here. So it specifies the relation between the specified dependent entity and the principal entity type. So we can press F4 or select to or we can click to select from the list. The multiplicity of the association can be as defined in the principal part of the association. Then we have this checkbox create related navigation property. So this is again optional. If we select this option, so it is to set a link for the entity type. Under the entity type, dependent entity type, when we select the navigation property name is proposed based on the specified cardinality. Then if we select this option of create related navigation property, then we get this enable, that is the navigation property. So if we set a navigation property name for the specified entity type, so the name is proposed based on the cardinality of the entity. So if the navigation property is created under the dependent entity, it sets a navigation link from the dependent entity type to my principal entity type. So once done, we can click on next to define the referential constraints. So let's give the name of the association. So we can choose from F4 if we want to choose from the existing list, or we can create the new one by typing here. So say if I give it the demo, then we can give the entity type name, say sales. We can choose the cardinality. Now we have to specify the property here. So this way we can create the associations, and if we go to the next, then we can define the name of the association set or the collection of the associations in each entity type, and after that we can finish it. So the wizard creates an entity object that contains the collection of association set, entity set, and the navigation properties for the defined association. So this is how I can define the association. So we can also double click on the association folder to open it and new association. So let's say if I double click on my association folder, so I can see the mass maintenance view on the right hand side. So I can again insert the row after this, and I can insert the association on this. So first of all I have to be in the edit mode. Then I have to click on this insert row. So we have all these options available under this. So the first one is the name, wherein I have to enter the name for the new association in this field. Then we have this external association editor. So if we click to create an external association, the term external association refers to creating an association with the entities of the model that has been included in the service builder. Then we have this principal entity. So we have to enter the name of the principal entity, the entity which is being considered for the from role in the new association. Then we have to specify the principal entity cardinality. So we have to select a cardinality for the principal entity from the drop down list. So we can choose the different options, that is that we have just discussed, 1:n and all that, from this view. Now, so as you can see here, we can have 0, 1, m and n. So once we are done with it, then we have to select the dependent entity. So we have to enter the name of this dependent entity here, and after that we have to again specify the dependent entity cardinality, then the label. So my label is displayed as the label when the service is consumed. Then as the last option we have this label text reference editor. So to define the label, we use the label text reference editor. So the label text reference editor will enable us to enter the reference type. So we can also use the additional functions available in the mass edit view as described, like we can delete the row, we can sort ascending, we can sort descending, like we have this insert row. Then say if I want to delete this row, I can use this delete row. Then we have this sort in ascending, sort in descending to sort the data. Then we have the icons to change the layout. So we can click on this to change the layout, existing layout which is there. Then we have the view hide tree view. So we can use this option to hide and unhide the tree view. So these are the options. So once done, we can directly go and save this association. So after that, once we are done with the entity type, entity set and the association, so the next thing is the association set. So let's go back to the presentation. Now what is my association set? So my association set groups the association instances. So basically what does that mean is, it is similar to how an entity set groups an entity type instances. So basically my entity set will group my entity type instances and my association set will group my association instances. So it specifies a relationship between the two entity sets based on the respective entity types of the underlying association. So how we can create the association sets now? We can go back again to our SAP system. So now we can again right click this data model and we can choose create. Then we have the association set. So we do not have any association existing in this project, so that's why we cannot create the association set. So basically to create the association sets, we first need the associations in my project. So similar to the other things in the association set as well, we have to specify the unique name, then we have to specify the different attributes of it, and at last we have to save it. So this way we can create the association set. Now, so that this exercise we will be doing in our next session, in which we will be actually creating the entity types and the association entity sets in detail for an example. Now let's go back to the presentation. So after that we have the function imports. So in addition, my OData supports further service operations, that is the function imports, that can be invoked by the HTTP methods get or post for anything that cannot be mapped to the standard CRUD operation. So we can implement such additional service operations in the service builder by creating the function imports within our data model. So we can create the function imports for the custom operations like confirm work item, check flight availability. So we can create the custom functions using that. So my open data protocol includes the standard CRUD operations that can map to the HTTP methods post, get, put, merge and delete. So while it is simple to create the new function imports to invoke the custom operations, if the operation we want to use can be invoked using a standard CRUD operation, we should not create a function import. So that is, you should only create the function import for the custom operations that cannot be invoked using the standard operation. Now let's see how we can create the function imports in my service builder. So if I go to my service builder, if I right click on my data model project, on my data model, sorry, so we can click on this create, and then we have the option of function import. So I have to give the name of this function import. So say if I give it as a demo. Now I have all these options available to me. That is, in the return type kind column, I have to select the kind of return type we want the function import to return data at runtime. Then we have this return type column, wherein I have to enter the name of the complex type or the entity type we want the function import to return. We can use the input help to select an existing complex or entity type from your project. So if the input help is empty, we must first create the relevant complex type or entity type in our project. Then if we select no, return this field is not editable. Then we have the return cardinality column. So we have to select the cardinality using the input help again. Then we have this, if the key properties of the entity type are of core type, that is EDM date type or EDM date type offset or EDM GUID, then return cardinality has to be 0:1. Is not allowed because for these core types, initial ABAP value is not a valid EDM value and it can cause runtime exception. So if we select 0:1, an error message is displayed. Then we have the we have to set the cardinality based on the all these functionalities which are there, like which entity type we have selected. So based on that we have to choose the cardinality here. Then we have the return entity set. So if there is any return entity set we have to return, so we can choose the entity set from this menu. So we can choose the entity set available in our project. Then we have to select the HTTP method type to invoke the import function. So if we do not select an HTTP method, we have to invoke the function import using the get or post method. Then we have this action for entity type. In this column we have to select the entity type to which the function import applies semantically as an action. While this setting has no effect at the runtime, it can help us to determine which function import belong to a particular entity type. Then at last we have this label. So in the label we have to enter a label for the new function import. So we can enter a free text label directly, or we can use the label text reference editor to enter the reference type. So the reference type we select will influence the other input fields as well. So we have to choose this reference type by keeping in mind what options I need. So once we have created this, then again we have to click on the save option to save my function import. So this is how we can create the function import. Now let's go back to the PPT. Then at last we have the complex types. So we use the complex types to define the structured properties for the entity types or other complex types without exposing the complex types themselves as an independent OData entity. So because my complex types consist of a collection of properties without a unique name, they can only exist as properties of a containing entity or outside an entity as a temporary value. So unlike my entity types, my complex types cannot form either end of an association between the data objects and therefore we cannot define the navigation properties for a complex type. However, we can use the complex type. They can contain other complex types, that is, they can have a deep structure. So within a complex type, the cardinality is always 1:1. So my complex type comprises of a unique name and the properties which are optional. So now let's see how we can create the complex type in my service builder. So to create the complex type, we can go to the data model again. We have to right click, we have to go to this create, and then we can have the select this complex type. So we have to specify the complex type name here, and we have to click this. Now we have this name what we have specified just now. Then in the ABAP structure type name, we have to enter the appropriate ABAP structure directly, or we can use the input help to search for an existing structure in the repository. Then we have this base type name. So in the base type name, we have to enter the relevant base type name directly, or we can use the input help to display a list of node names and their descriptions. So the base types inherit their properties to derived types. Inheritance between the base type and the derived type will enable us to reuse the existing complex types. Then we have this is abstract. So in the is abstract column, we have to select the checkbox if the new complex type is of type abstract as opposed to concrete. So by default, this checkbox is not selected. So if we set the type as abstract, our service implementation has to use a concrete derived type at runtime. Then we have the label column. So in the label column, we have to enter a label for the new complex type. So we can enter a free text label directly, or we can use the label text reference editor to enter the reference type. So the reference type we select will influence again our other input fields like object name, key, label, etc. So this is one way of creating the complex type, or we can directly click on the complex type to open up the window. So if I double click on my complex type, I will be in the mass maintenance view, wherein I can click on the edit and I can edit the window, and I can create the new complex type using the insert row option. So once we have set up all the properties, we can click on the save button to save our complex type. So let's go back to the presentation. So this is basically the end of this session. So in this session, we have seen how we can create a data model, how we can create the entity type, entity sets, how we can create the associations and association sets, how we can create the function import or the complex type. So all these things we have covered in this session, the overview of all these and what are the properties that we can enter at the time of service creation. So in the next session, we will see a live example how we can create a new service and how we can expose it as a URL. So thank you.